by Pave It Forward Asphalt. My name is Metzger, and with me is Kevin Gray, and we are here to help leaders in the paving industry who are looking to run more efficiently, meet their ideal customer, and improve the lives around them through meaningful work. Kevin, it has been a while since we've last sat here and done this. How are you today, man?
Man, I am great. This is awesome. I wasn't sure that this day would ever happen again, considering, everything that's transpired, not only in my personal life, but in my professional life and in our relationship over the last year and a half, 2 years, be what it may. But man, it's good to be sitting there with you again, brother. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. This is we'll get into a little bit of the past year and everything, but this has been something I've been looking forward to because I really do enjoy sitting down and talking our craft. And when it comes down to it, this is a little bit of a break for us. We get to kind of reflect on what we are doing, and we are very much process oriented. And so this is a really nice way, personally, as just a really nice get together to focus and just chat about what matters to us in business. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to this too. So we're just gonna hop right into it, man. So let's get into this past year and kind of what we learned. You've started a new asphalt paving company, and what was that process and mentality going into the starting the new asphalt paving business?
Man, I'll tell you what, it was a lot of quiet time with myself. The last year has been a journey for me. A lot of folks that are probably tuned into this kind of know the backstory a little bit, but last 2-3 years been going through a divorce, which has for the most part been pretty amicable, and um, we've kept the kids at the forefront of our minds going through that whole process. So we really in the beginning, when we decided, hey, we should probably part ways, we said let's do this the right way to the best of our ability. Let's keep the kids, at the forefront, and let's just get through this. And the story of my old business, I won't get too much into it because it's not really relevant today. We're moving onward and upward. My ex-wife did have a majority stake in that business because her family started it back in the late 50s and had been ran and operated by her family up until the point where we bought it in 2011. So in the midst of going through the divorce and the business settlement and trying to hash everything out, some other things transpired, and it just got to the point where it made a lot more sense just to part ways with the business as well. And she's continuing to run that business. And look, I've since about last May or June, I've had to do some soul searching and some deep diving into myself and listening to my conscience and the Holy Spirit. If the thoughts that come into your mind and the things that feed your soul and your energy and your purpose and your passions, and had a stint with something I thought I was pretty passionate about. I was exploring some different career options and moves, and the more time I just spent with myself and what made me happy and what made me feel purposeful, it kept leading back to this asphalt industry. And I've talked to a lot of people and they're like, are you freaking nuts? Like, it's one of can be labeled as one of the most challenging, daunting, physically excruciating, industries out there. Anyway, it's a seasonal business. It's a grimy business. It's a physically intensive, business. It's mentally and emotionally straining because especially where we live, it's an 8 or 9, maybe 10-month season if you're lucky. So there's the financial stress of getting everything done within 3/4 of a year to be able to pay for things that cost on an annual basis. So man, I just, how it started was kind of last May, June, when some things happened and I had to make a decision what I want to do. I was like, well, I at least know how to do this, so I'll we did 14 or 16 jobs last June through November, just kind of part-time. The phone, I was no longer involved with the old business, but the cell phone kept ringing. People knew me. I've been in the industry almost 15 years. So we took on some projects and kept kept my house and kept the bills paid and kept food on the table to the best of our ability. And just over this, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 months, it really started clawing at me. It's like, man, I miss it. I miss the camaraderie. I miss the teamwork. I miss the culture. I miss the industry. I miss being a part of the industry. And that's something that you and I got really ingrained in and focused on in what I can tell from doing this soul searching, if you will, is that was a big piece of why we love doing what we're doing, because it gave us an opportunity to help other people in an industry that we're passionate about. So all signs just kept pointing back to this and an opportunity to do it again, maybe a little differently this time, with a little different mission, a little different clarity, a little different purpose. I've got 15 years of hard lessons that I've learned already. So hopefully I can do it a little smoother this time and it not take so long to come out of the gate. Because back in 2011, when we acquired the old paving business, I was involved with that in 2009, 2010. We finally bought it in 2011, and it, for all intents and purposes, it might as well have been a startup at that point as well, because it was pretty run down. The finances were a wreck. The equipment was a wreck. The crew was, we've talked about it on this podcast before in the past. I mean, we were kind of we inherited this mess that we kind of had to clean up, and essentially was a startup in its own regard. So doing this again, man, it's taken me back to those days. And it's like, I've done this before. It's going to be hard as hell. It's going to take a lot of effort. And I'm, 12, 13 years removed from starting a business. So, you forget all the little things you've got to do and all the things it requires to get the ship in motion, man. It's like, I got the sails up. Where the hell's the wind?
Yeah, let's talk about this, because you essentially are starting now twice. One, when you just got calls and you're like, well, I need a crew now. And two,
Yes.
This year, now that you're back into it and you have a little bit of time to reflect. But let's go back to, you said it's I believe last May, June-ish, and you're getting calls. What do you do? Like, you decide you want to make some money for your family. What were your first actions there?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, well, I probably need to go get a pickup truck and a trailer. I'm going to there's going to be some sort of equipment that I'm going to have to acquire to be able to go, be responsive to these people that are calling me. And I tell you what, I didn't have a paver. I didn't have anything. Like I had was eventually handing it all over, being, selling out my share in the other business. So like, I didn't have any of that crew. I didn't have any of their equipment, stuff I had acquired and accumulated over a 12, 15-year period wasn't at my disposal. So I actually was like, well, I need to go make some income. So I went down to our local Seal Master distributor and dealer, and I rented a pull behind 550-gallon seal, literally going back to how, we've talked about it on this podcast. Like, if you want to get in the pavement maintenance industry, what's the first thing you do? You probably start in seal coating. So, I mean, that's literally what I was like, that's the way I can go turn money today.
Yep.
So I went and rented a trailer, filled it up with sealer, had a couple guys that were willing to help, do some labor. And I started going door to door, man. I found a neighborhood that we had served, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago. And one of my good friends lives in that neighborhood, and they coincidentally needed their driveway sealed and said, hey, do you mind if I stored my trailer at his house for a few weeks? And we literally just knocked on doors in that neighborhood for 2 or 3 weeks and seal coated, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 driveways and got some money turning. And eventually some of those folks, the doors we were knocking on, they needed some asphalt needs. They needed paving needs. And then the phone started ringing a little bit. A couple decent projects came in just out of the blue that, we're definitely going to require a paver. They're 100-ton plus jobs. One of them was 700-800 tons. I was like, well, I need to find a machine. So I reached out to my cat dealer. They had coincidentally just taken in a Weiler 385B paver from one of the local competition that was still in pretty good shape. A company that it ran its life cycle for that established company before they were just going to trade up for the newer model. Every 3, 4, 6 years maybe you trade these machines in because you've depreciated them, and it doesn't mean they're bad machines by any means. It just makes financial sense to go ahead and take the new machine. So I found a decently used paver, $50,000. I got my credit with. Yeah, I tell you, anybody that's gone through a 3-year divorce and or business settlement, I can tell you that your credit is going to be affected during that process to some extent. It's
Might take a ding,
inevitable.
huh?
It's like, well, you're going to pay that. You're going to pay that. I'm not paying it. There can be a little bit of conflict through that. So,
Sure.
Luckily enough, my credit was in good enough standing to get them to finance a machine for me. I got a brand new gooseneck trailer financed. I got an F-250 truck financed that I thought was going to be capable of pulling the trailer and paver. Ended up it wasn't. That's another story. But we've got some trucks now, so we're in good shape. But and we just started, and I did, like I said, I think we did 16 paving jobs between last June and November. Maybe a couple a month, just as needed, and it was enough to get us barely get us through the winter to where we could, kind of go full bore with it. And the more I sat, and I got to a point last year, and I think it was because maybe I didn't have the right people around me, maybe the right crew. We just kind of had people coming in as needed. I didn't have an established crew, so we were just anybody that could help on any given day that we had some projects coming up. We wrangled up enough folks to get it done. And it was frustrating. And it's like, man, I don't think I can part-time half-ass go at this because it's too hard. It's not consistent enough because we talked about it a lot. It's like, finding consistency in a team, in the processes, in the structure, in the day-to-day. Like, you kind of got to get into that because I was getting frustrated because things weren't like what they used to. And I've learned a lot through that too, because like, man, this isn't going how it was going a year ago when we had a 30-man, operation and all the equipment and trucks and bells and whistles you could ever dream of. It's
not to mention office staff, admin,
dude,
sales people. Yeah.
Exactly. Back to doing all, selling the work, doing the books, answering the phone, running the jobs, performing the jobs. It's like, man, do I really want to do this again?
Sure. So obviously you said you couldn't do it part-time. You decided you were going to go all in, this year. And so you had kind of duct taped together a crew last year.
Yeah.
This winter you talked about some of the accounting stuff, some of the office stuff. What were the priorities that you decided you wanted to take care of before entering the 2024 season?
Priorities were making, we've got to have the equipment and staff to be able to perform. And we're a startup again. So is it exactly what we need it to be? Probably not. But is it, we've already gone out and done a few jobs and things have gone great. So that's good. And once I knew I had that, I knew my next call was to you. It was like, we have to let people know that we exist, that we're in business, and we know what we're doing, and that we have a mission, that we have a purpose. And because at the end of the day, when anything gets tough in business, I'll always say this, and I'll always resort back to it. I mean, sales will fix everything. Because
if you have the leads coming in,
to get the leads coming in and selling some work, because I'll tell you this, it's daunting when you sit through a winter like I just did. And it's been a decade since I've sat through a winter and wasn't able to pay myself or do the things I may have wanted to do, or spend $5,000 a month on my advertising, budget or whatever it may be, purchasing equipment, recruiting crew in and saying, hey, we're going to get you started on March 1st and we're going to start paying you because we have the resources. Like, until you go out and start getting some sales and start building some resources that you can make business decisions based on, it's hard, man. You got to get creative. I mean, there were a couple months that I wasn't sure I was going to pay my mortgage, man. And you get creative, and sometimes, and I've kind of given into this a little bit. Sometimes, people say karma's a bitch or whatever, but I've found that if I can just show up most days and do the best I can and do the next right things, that some way, somehow things end up working out. My whole, and I didn't always used to do things right by any means, but and maybe I'm just creative enough or have enough imagination inside of me. I mean, the woman that used to run our operations at the old company used to say, I don't know how you do it, but you always come out smelling like a rose. So, I guess I have enough belief in myself. And I think that's another one, man. Like, you got to believe. Like, you got to believe beyond the shadow of doubt, even though, dude, I've dealt with doubt. I've dealt with fear. I've dealt with how am I ever going to get this thing off the ground again? The money's going to run out, all this stuff, leading up to this. Like, man, you just gotta believe, and you got to put one day at a time, one foot in front of the other, and just and by the way, we've been working together, what, 2-3 months now, and I've already pumped out almost $1 million worth of bids. They're not all coming back yet, but it's not. Sure. And I've been through this enough. Like, you just wait till April till it gets a little warmer, and that stuff's going to start flooding in, and sure. We're getting more phone calls, and we're getting more activity through the website, and we're getting involved with some local trade associations. We're doing some networking events starting. We're doing a tabletop night next week, and it's just going back to all the things we did 10, 12, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. All the things I took for granted towards the end of my career in the other business, because we'd become so established. It's like, oh, this is how you do it, and it's okay to trust the process, and it's not going to be pretty all the time. Sure. But the wins are going to feel really good. Like, when we sign that first big job this year, or start to see those bids come in as signed proposals, it's going to be like, then you can breathe a little bit, because, like I said, sure. Sales and revenue and resources allow the fear to calm down a little bit, and you can start making business decisions again and being proactive because it's very reactive when the resources aren't there. It's survival mode.
Sure. Absolutely. And that's interesting. And when talking to, so I deal with a lot of contractors. I do digital marketing for you and for several other people right now, and we're getting ready to expand, which is super exciting for us. But in talking to a tile contractor that I've been working with, I tell him my process is about wanting to do this with you and wanting to educate people and really wanting to be a resource so contractors can be less afraid of, that kind of marketing aspect of things. And he told me, he's like, Phil, I don't know that there's enough contractors out there that will want to take that much pride in their brand or take their marketing that seriously. Yeah. And even though I'm sitting on this side of the microphone as a marketer, I do think some people will be sitting out there that said, you're starting your business up in 2024. You're telling us you're taking on some debt and everything, and you decide to spend money on marketing. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think some people will find it curious.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to that old cliche of you've got to spend money to make money. And the experience I have, I mean, you can spend money to make money on equipment. Everything to me in business comes down to return on investment, whether it be people, production equipment. And what I have found, at least in my experience, man, is the marketing arm is the most important piece of everything, because I mean that allows you the options to expedite the resources coming back into you, because I don't have other than I've got a few people in my phone over the years that know of me that I do asphalt, but like that's not going to be enough to get this engine running as quickly as we need it to start running. And I can only knock on so many doors. I can only pass out so many flyers. I can only be at so many networking events. If people shop in the way of Amazon today and DoorDash, and like if they can't find you online and find that you've got a website, that you've got some credibility, maybe with the BBB or with Google, Facebook, then you're not gonna get found. And by the way, even if they find you, most people are gonna go and check that stuff to see if you're credible. Because if you're not backed up or verified to some extent, validated in that kind of online presence, there's 15 other people they can choose to do business with here in just my market alone.
Sure. You're counting on word of mouth at that point, if
And
that's the case.
word of mouth, and what it did from June to November last year, which is almost, I mean, you just take out March, April, May, so you're talking, 7-8 months of a season, only produced me 16 jobs.
Yeah.
Right. And I had no website. All I had was a cell phone number. I didn't have any social media presence. And it's like, people want to know about us. This is what we need to do.
Sure.
It's tested. It's tried and true. I mean, there are no yellow pages anymore. Like this is it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. And I also wanted to ask about when you started your new brand, you decided to go with Pave It Forward. Was there something behind the brand or the words that really struck you that you wanted to pursue that?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because I think I had some things go down and some realizations and some acceptance and surrender that I had to come to terms with back in May. And a lot of that stems now, and for me, wanting to live a better life and be a better person. And I think Pave It Forward holds me accountable just on a personal level. It's something that you and I created this years back because it was something we wanted to give back to the industry. We wanted to help people. For whatever reason, folks were gravitated to us, to our brand, to me as a resource in the industry, and we were always giving back. It's like we need a platform that makes it permanent in this industry in a way to give back. So it just made sense to me, man. Like I love the name, I love the mission, I love the core values we've written, I love the mission statement we've written, and I love that as much as I love just doing it before for my family, for our employees, for our team, our community. Like now we're really doing it for our community. Like every piece of everything we do is going to go back to serve something in our community in some form or fashion from now and until the day this thing's over, as far as I'm concerned, because I believe in that so much. And we used to do that with the old company. Like we would give back, but like this really puts an emphasis on that. And it really is that never was really part of our culture at the old business. And now it is something that we can all be focused on the team of we're doing this for a bigger purpose, for a bigger reason. Yes, we enjoy what we do. Yes, we enjoy making a good living. Yes, we enjoy this industry, but we also get to do this within our community and all the communities in which we serve. So for me, I'll tell you, man, it was just a bigger sense of accountability to what I believe my higher purpose is, my higher calling is to do with my time I've got left on this earth. And if I can do that, laying some blacktop, then that's even better. So.
Sure. And I do want to you actually took on a podcast on your own, and I don't mind plugging it here. It's the Rock Bottom podcast, and you as you were going through your struggles and difficulties, you decided to start this podcast on your own. And if there's anyone out there, especially in the asphalt paving business, who's just looking for some friend and just some just some shop talk amongst asphalt paving people, I suggest you all check that out. So I've tuned into that a couple times, and it's great to see from a personal level that kind of journey. And it's one of the also the benefits of sharing yourself, putting yourself out there, is to meet other like-minded people, and to, as
Yeah.
you said, there's something about us that wanted to give back, and we're going to give back to our communities. We're going to give back to the asphalt paving community. But it just in what you were doing there, reaching out and being a part of other people's lives and letting other people into yours through that, it's a great platform. So I encourage everyone to check that out.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And that's the basis of why I started doing that. It, my thought was, if I and I had learned so much already, and I'm only 11 months in, so I'm by no means an expert. I'm still very much in my infant stages of my recovery. But like, if I can just help one person hear something that I might have to say on any given day or any one of these podcasts, then that's all that it mattered for me. It was just again, going back to what our mission is here, is just trying to help, man. Trying to
Absolutely.
help one
Absolutely.
person. So.
Well, let's talk about 2024, Kev. What are you looking forward to? Have you decided to set some goals at this point? What's the outlook for 2024? What are your hopes?
We do have some goals. We have some pretty ambitious goals, because that's another thing I learned a long time ago, that some of the other folks in the industry, and some people in my mentorship groups, and in my closest circles, and this is a good one for any of you out there that are struggling to maybe grow or move the needle, or push beyond a barrier, a comfort zone, if you will. I was notorious, and I think most of us, because it's safe, because it's not scary. It's pretty common to set attainable goals. So I'm more of the mindset now that let's raise the bar as high as we can. Let's set a goal that maybe we don't think's attainable.
Sure.
And even if we land a little bit short, it's going to probably be a much bigger number than what we would have put down on a piece of paper if we just wanted to be conservative. So we've got some big goals. And with that, I mean, look, I know what I did last year, part-time, in the capacity I did. And I said, there's no way. And by the way, owning a business for the last, go back to 2011, so 13, 14 years, I've established a lifestyle that I hope to, I've at least got a mortgage I would like to keep paid, and that comes with a price. So it's like, I can't part-time this again, just personally. And by the way, I don't want a crew of part-timers. In fact, I want to see them excel and flourish and succeed, and live lives that they maybe wouldn't have ever imagined in this industry. So it's much bigger than me. And it's like, if we want to get to where we're going, we need to set some big goals. And that goes back to, it's like, I can't get there without my guy, my marketing guy, the guy that did this with me before. And so, man, I'll tell you this, man, I was gracious that you took my first phone call, I don't know, 6-7 months ago, whenever it was, and that we've been able to continue the conversation since then and get to the point we are today, because that was something else when I was doing some soul searching and some deep thinking and getting quiet with myself. It's like, that we had something, and not just from a business standpoint, but on a personal level, on a human level, on a morals and ethics level. Like, it just
chemistry
worked. Yeah, and it's like, man, that's I hope we can figure that out, and I'm glad we're getting there. I won't,
absolutely. No, we're the
this is a start over also, right? Like, this
absolutely.
Opportunity.
No, from my side of things, I accepted a job with a sports complex in their marketing department, and took pretty much a year. I had just moved to Colorado. We had found out we're having a baby. We didn't know anyone, like, so I just decided, didn't have any clients here, over everything. So I took a year, and, through other circumstances, through myself, I just realized that, this is what I love. This is what, like, it's a perfect combination of what my skills and just my natural way of thinking and desires. I love marketing. And especially if you can back someone with a company that I believe in, like, that's the only way I'm going to choose to work. And in off of a spinoff of that, the way I choose to work, you had said in the past that the first year that you came into the last company, you had set huge goals, but it was just absolutely mayhem because you just took absolutely anything that came through the door. I think this time around, how to work big parking lots, the area, you're just much more familiar with things. So I think some of these goals you said, even though they're lofty, are fantastic. And getting back to just being able to do this again, it's wonderful. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have people to talk business with, especially small business. And there's such a component of giving to employees that fires me up, or giving people opportunities, even if it's other contractors, to work with you and to be with, just grow together, and just to have that genuine excitement, that synergy that comes off when things start working. It's very exciting, man. I'm Kev. I'm glad to be here. And with those hard conversations, man, it was you did it right. It's a lot easier to forgive someone when they are sorry for the things for things that mattered. So we both had some things, and so I can't tell you how glad I am to be back here and firing on all cylinders again. Or at least firing. Yeah, we'll be on all cylinders here in a few months. I'll get the new studio set up. We'll be coming through with some studies and much more value. But yeah, Kev, it's great to get back here with you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And it is great. And I want to touch on something you just said about just getting, because I think it's important. I think it's important to note, especially we've got people that may just be starting or launching or growing. Man, that it was such a learning lesson, and such a huge mistake I made the first time around. Just taking on everything, taking on the world, taking on every job. And it goes back again to, it would be easy for me to do that now because there is some desperation, I'll just use that word, to get some revenue turning so we can do some other things. But at the end of the day, revenue doesn't equal profit. Revenue doesn't equal resources. Just because I can go do a pothole job for $1,000, if I've got a $20 bill left in my pocket at the end of that because it took all day and we had to, like, whatever, I had to pay a couple guys, like, that doesn't make any sense. So I just went out and wasted a bunch of time and energy and resources for a $20 bill, when maybe if I would have worked a little harder, a little smarter, not harder, at doing things like figuring out some marketing angles, approaches, things I can be doing that way to find jobs that actually make sense. So I don't know. I'm just throwing
Well,
some
the
caution.
math too.
What's that?
Every line item that's going to be on there, as to where the first time around you may have just thrown the lowest number out there just to get the job and then go do it.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, before, like, I would just be like, all right, it's going to cost me this much material and it's going to cost me that much in labor. Cool. I can make $300 or $400 going to do that. Well, I forgot about the insurance I got to pay to be in business. I forgot about, the work comp. If I, all these, I forgot about the fuel, I forgot about the 2 rakes I got to go buy and the tamper I got to go rent. It's like, by the end of the day, it's like, crap.
But you have to go back because you didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Lost more customers because it was a bad rating. Yeah.
100%. First year, we bought the first company that was doing $400,000 a year. And I've told this story 100 times. Like, I'm going to do $1 million the first year. And by God, we did. We did $1.2 million. And we lost almost $300,000 in the course of doing that. So, jeez. I mean, negative $300,000 net profit at the end of all that. And it was madness, by the way, because that company was not anywhere near set up to do much more than $500,000-600,000 maybe.
Yeah.
And we did double that. And the top line looked great. It's like, we did it. We did $1 million. Like, oh shit, we're broke.
Yeah.
Af.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna starve this winter.
Yeah, it feels nice to tell someone you did that much in revenue, but doesn't help put food in your
it
belly.
doesn't pay the bills, man.
Man, that's incredible. Well, for anyone out there, stay tuned. You'll get a play-by-play with all the podcasts and all the social media we're gonna do. So, and if you have any questions, especially for Kevin, reach out on Instagram is probably the easiest to get a hold of him at Pave It Forward LLC. Yeah, you can find us on most other major networks as well. But Kevin, just to wrap up this episode, do you have any thoughts that won't stop for today?
Oh man, I forgot about the thought that won't stop.
Yeah. Well, I can go first, man, and you can even copy mine if you need to. But
Go for it.
It's just gratitude, man. It's just gratitude. We say we're very lucky guys, and there is no doubt about that. But we both believe in something. We wake up with a vision and a mission, even if it changes, every once in a while. We wake up and hold a belief, and so to look around, see the wife, the kid, all that stuff, and then to be able to wake up and do what I love is just amazing. And so gratitude is the word of the day for me, and I definitely appreciate this opportunity with you as well.
I like that, man. It's I feel it now, and I think it's been this way for the last 45 minutes. So we've been talking. Like, I've just got this smile on my face that, like,
yeah.
And it's not forced. It's just a feeling I have of gratitude. Doing this again with you, and just they say in my program all the time, and like, if you're struggling to find any gratitude today, check your pulse.
Yeah.
There's
something.
There's something, dude. If you're alive and breathing, and there's something to be grateful for. So
I can't wait to see Gary again. He always used to say, I woke up this morning, my elbows weren't hitting wood. It's a good day.
Gary Lee.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's great, man.
He's excited. We've got a good little group put together, man, to get this thing going. So I can't wait to get you in town and meet everybody and get them mic'd up. And this industry, it's full of personalities. So we'll have
Absolutely.
some fun, man.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, Kev. Well, thanks again. And thanks for everyone out there listening. Any last thoughts for the people here today, Kev?
I don't, man. I don't. Go out there and get it.
I hear you. Well, if you'd like to dive deeper into what we do, visit paveitforwardllc.com or mirrormvp.com for my stuff, and look for the contact form. Or you can just find us at Instagram at paveitforwardllc. Also look for Kevin's Rock Bottom podcast. You'll find that on most major podcast platforms, and he's also got some newer stuff coming up as well. This has been the Pave It Forward podcast, where we aim to help leaders in the paving industry who look to run more efficiently, meet their ideal customer, and improve the lives of those around them through meaningful work. Thanks, everybody.